Hey everyone, it is Texasthighs and I'm Courtney.
And I'm Nick.
And we're finally back at it.
we drug our feet, and I want to thank all the people that followed Courtney's page regarding this and followed the podcast page. We finally are here, our first podcast we put out there in our mind, and we just didn't like the way it turned out. Took a little break, and now we feel fresh, and if you're listening to this, then we succeeded.
We did it. We finished it. We actually did one. Yes, we're super excited. We have so many things we've talked about and discussed that we want to cover and share with everyone. We get so many questions all the time. So we're really excited. So we decided we're going to have our whiskey, of course, and we'll get started sharing kind of some of the things we've encountered along this journey.
So our first topic is a question that both of us get presented a lot, which is, how does he or your husband let you do this?
And first off, whenever I hear the word let, I'm kind of like, wait a minute, I'm a grown ass woman. No one lets me do anything. I can decide for myself. And so he doesn't let me. And then we'll discuss later what this means.
We're a team, and letting her do something is it's a very interesting way to look at our life for outsiders who have no idea what they're talking about. But when you love someone, you have a relationship with someone, you don't just tell them what to do, you help guide them. And also same for me. She's guided me through careers, and I've guided her through careers, and there is no do this or do that. It's, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, we're both very communicative with each other. We've always communicated very well, whether it's in good mannered communication, sometimes anger, sometimes passion, sometimes intensity. But we've always been very open with each other and shared with each other exactly how we felt. So I think whenever they say let, it like drives me insane. I'm like, what? We support each other through everything. Anything we decide to do or want to do. Like you said, I've been there through all his jobs and careers, and he's been there through all of my different businesses. I've always been an entrepreneur at heart, so he's been there through all of it.
It's weird because we both supported each other through different career paths, and not just her. Like, I was a manager for a company, I did sales, I did a lot of things, and she would support me, and we would discuss opportunities coming ahead and this and that, but there was never any, I need you to go be a manager, I need you to make more money. And then with her, she cleaned houses for a living, she watched kids for a living, and those aren't these big dream jobs, but they helped our family and helped our kids be around their mom still. And I supported her if she had a bad day, if some kid was being a brat, if house took longer than normal, whatever, then she would talk to me, I would talk to her, we would talk about the jobs we had at the time. And when this opportunity arose and she wanted to see where it took us, I was supportive of her and said, hey, this is what you want to do, this brings you confidence and joy and happiness, posting pretty pictures, then I'll be here to help you, support you, and be a part of this process.
And I think too, like, he says it all sweet because he is really sweet and was amazing through all of it. As a girl, you always grow up thinking it'd be really cool to like take these cool pictures and be a model, and we'll have to discuss it on another podcast. But he always treated me like I was, beautiful or hot or whatever. And I always joke that the story behind Texasthighs is it was a joke / dare. And it was kind of him daring me to kind of go after that dream. And we both felt excited and I think hopeful, like that we could do something fun with it, but we didn't really know anywhere we were going. So, but anyways, we'll get back to our topic.
Plan or goal, but at the end of the day, let's dive into that hypothetical question. How does he let you do it? And let's say hypothetically that's actually what happened, and I let her do this, and I'm the one that controls the wand and says, oh yes, please do this. You have to. A lot of people support their wives or husbands, or maybe don't, in careers, in the world that we live in today, in a world that it was struck hard by the Me Too movement a few years ago. And so I ask you, if you look at me and say, how do you let your wife post pretty pictures of herself on the internet and be confident? I ask you, what does your wife do? What does your husband do? And are you supporting them, or do you let them, do things that you probably don't really, understand or appreciate, or do things happen out there you don't like? So
Well, yeah, like in the corporate world, as we've seen with Me Too, how things have come out, everywhere, any kind of jobs, it doesn't matter. You can face sexualization, sexual assault, sexual harassment, and control from anywhere from McDonald's to corporate world, all the way up to Hollywood. We've seen it all happening through this Me Too movement, and people actually being able to come out and talk about it. So it's kind of like, and we have plenty of stories in our work worlds that we can share, but
it started with Hollywood, which is at the top of the chain for that, and it's $1 million movies and $1 billion movies and all these things happening.
$1 million actresses.
A lot of times they skipped the smaller level where it happened at corporate Forbes 500 companies, it happened at little companies, it happened at all these companies, and there's men and women both being sexualized by their boss or by coworkers or by customers, and it's constantly like kind of accepted as that's just kind of part of the way the world worked for the last 100 years. And finally some people spoke out, and it sucked that it had to be big time movie people that they went down on, because we're missing out on all the people below them. And like I said, the Me Too company movement that was out there, Courtney started putting support in that. We received the emails all the time, and they're kind of jarring when you see just how deep it goes. And so for me to be like, oh, I let my wife do this safe modeling thing, instead of be out there potentially having her boss grope her, or having a coworker or a company that she goes and sells to do whatever. And to her point,
it's kind of everywhere. People actually, just today, someone said, do you ever get tired of being objectified? And that was kind of a funny question. I was like, I mean, I've been getting objectified since I can remember.
She never asked to be objectified. I never objectified her. I dated her because I thought she was a great person.
We were friends.
We went on dates and whatnot, but I would go out with her early on in our relationship, and I would just see men leering at her and standing over us. And I was like, this objectifying of my wife was not something I chose. There was family events, there was all kinds of events where I'd be like, wow, guess that's how you hug someone's wife now. But at the end of the day, like, women don't choose to be objectified. It's not that way. So
like they say, it's not what we wear. It doesn't matter what we're wearing. It's the person looking that it chooses what they want to see or how they think about it. But and it came down to like when we did the interview with Jessie, and it was about newer aged moms and things like that. And of course, I'm always a taboo thing because I'm a mom. But someone commented, my husband would rather me flip burgers than post the pictures she does, right? And it was kind of funny because I feel like it was just like a few days after that.
It was shortly thereafter, and it was kind of sad and funny. It was funny just because
funny
because it came in the same week.
That's why it was not funny at all. This is
obviously
funny.
It's terrible, but we get an email from the Me Too movement, and it's basically McDonald's is at the forefront right now of companies that allow sexual harassment and
it's kind of known
to
in
young girls, and it's known, and it's very rampant, and
it's accepted.
So it was kind of very flippage of like, okay, your husband would rather you potentially be in that situation. And again, not saying you need to be in the situation we're in, but it just kind of ran together oh wow.
It was just kind of crazy how it happened like right away. We were like, because I was kind of like, okay, well, I mean, I would hope your husband wants something else for you than, but it was just kind of jarring for her to say that, and me be like, wow, I get to like live out a dream that I thought would be cool since I was younger. And it was just like disgusting to her. And so, but anyway, so whenever we talk about that, about letting, and then we go into how the Me Too movement, how it is kind of come to light, how kind of mentally dangerous most jobs can be nowadays, especially or not nowadays, how they have been for women.
Yeah, I mean, it's
how toxic
not
it can
new.
be.
It's just now being
Women have
talked
just
about.
adapted and dealt with it and lived through it, and so I guess now we'll talk about what the this is, right?
So yeah, the question is, how does he let you do this? So I guess maybe that the problem is people don't know what this is, or maybe they don't think about it the way we do. And so let's talk about what we think this is. So what I know this is safe modeling in 2020. And as a partnership, and at the beginning of this, it was just me and her, me taking her pictures. I was supposed to go on Instagram, no locations, no anything, even used my phone to make sure that it was overly cautious. And then when things went well, we decided to work with some photographers. Again, overly cautious, vetting them, making sure that people that worked with them before liked them, said they were good people, that they were trustworthy, because, you know, at the end of the day, you hear a lot of bad stories. So that's what I think this is.
Yeah, we got to have complete control. Like I said before, like plenty of women out there when they're younger. I mean, I looked through the Playboys, I looked through Maxims, all that kind of stuff. And I always thought like how cool it'd be to feel that sexy, to like take those pictures and feel that sexy. And so kind of when Texasthighs, the reason I got started is because I would show him like hot Instagram models and be like, that would be like so freaking cool. They're just hot. Like would be fun to just feel hot, even just to do a photo shoot and feel sexy. And plenty of women have done that, and they always rave about how awesome it was. And so it's kind of what I was doing. We just did it basically ourselves on a budget, right?
We did it with me, and we were safe. We didn't have to fear any weird thing, and it was what we could do. And if things didn't go the way we thought they might, the way I thought they might go, then who cares? We delete the page and we move on with our life. But
it was fun.
It was cool to see, and I think what was really cool was when she showed me people, I'd look them up and go, well, she's 5'2", she's 5'1", and growing up, Courtney thought I got to be 5'10" to be a model. I can't be 5'1". I'm stuck with a short straw of being short, and so I'm never going to be a model. And so when I saw that,
it came to the point where someone did tell me like there is like magazine ads and like things you could probably do like for like even JCPenney's like catalogs and stuff. And I looked into it, and you had to be at least like 5'9" to even like get in the door with an application. I was like, okay, I'll never be that, whatever. I just kind of gave up until I saw all these chicks, and he looked them up and was like, dude, you could do this. And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, so when your wife, has this thought, and you're like, well, wait a minute, you're not kicked out of the club anymore. The club has opened up wider, and we're finding out that men, women, whoever her audience it was going to be was not closed-minded. There was this thought that
all thick girls could
men,
be hot
women,
too.
whatever, are beautiful, and there's a type for everyone. Instead of it just being this force-fed, you have to like this girl today because we put her on you. And again, this is back to the objectifying thing. That's not what I'm about. It's about her happiness, her confidence. I know people will turn it into that, but at the end of the day, magazines have been around for 60, 70, I mean, Playboy was in the 50s and 60s, and from there they just kept growing. So for us to sit here and go, oh, well, I mean, Playboys were at her house, Playboys were all over the world. So
Playboy on my wall right here.
For us to sit there and go, oh, well, that's not the way, that's the way the world is. If you don't think that's the way the world is, I'll be surprised you're listening to this podcast. But at the end of the day, like, that is the world we live in.
We see you here.
Modeling has been around forever. Women in magazines has been around forever. And finally, into our next segue, whatever. Finally, the women aren't just, here's exactly what everyone's got a cookie cutter. And if you're not this cookie cutter, so you better diet right and do this and do that and do all these things we say, you won't be in our magazine. Or if you don't pay to be in our magazine, you won't be in our magazine. Women were given the keys to the club, and they were said, here, in 1999, 8, when was her name? 99? Oh, 2000. Sorry, maybe not.
No, 2001.
2001, she would come to my house, and I'd have Maxim magazines.
Yes.
And then, of course, it's assumed that those are the girls I think are hot, when in reality, I don't work for Maxim magazine.
Some of them are pretty hot.
Them. Sure, of course. I didn't pick who was in it, though. So all we're doing 20 years later is not delivering exactly the 3 people to your mailbox that you now get to pick who you want your model to be, who you want to look at. And at the end of the day, that allows that, but it also allows her to make her own money. Her to not give Hugh Hefner 99% of the money in his company and the girl to pay just to be in the magazine, which guess what? That's what happens.
That's what they do now. It is now down to you have to pay to be in those magazines. Or with Maxim, they do like a big competition every year too. But it's all mainly you have some agent and you pay some package to be in one of these publications. If they choose yours or whatever, but you still have to pay and you just do a shoot and send it in.
Which, by the way, how many raise your hand? I'm not raising mine anymore. Who reads magazines? No one reads magazines. So people are paying money to be in a dead.
Well, they put them online.
It doesn't matter. People are paying money to be in something that is irrelevant. And at the end of the day, like, people don't need that anymore. We have smartphones, we have iPads, we have laptops, we have all the technology right there in our hands. And so people are forcing this, like, oh, if you were in a magazine, then that would be. And no, it wouldn't.
We have people
dealing
like
with creepy photographers, dealing with creepy companies, and instead we're here at home, happy, and she just gets to do whatever she wants.
Through this journey,
and pick what she wants to post.
We've been approached by different companies before, different agencies, different companies. But basically what happens is they either A, realize I'm not gonna hook up with them, or B, realize that we like having control of things. We're not gonna just turn things over to them and let them run it and take our money now. And so that's kind of happened. Like, we would love to work with like legit business that wants to actually be partners, but everyone that comes through, and there's been some like good companies and big time people have used, but when they come through it's you can tell they're instantly going to take the power. So basically nowadays in 2020, here we go, we have crazy ass 2020. We have the ability to, as viewers, pick who we follow on social media, and then pick who you want to see their other content. So instead of subscribing for a magazine that tells you who's hot that month, you get to subscribe to whichever girls you like, and they
or guys
there's
the platforms are open to all sexual,
even artistic stuff, even like
things.
Everything.
And so to say,
gonna choose, like, even to the point of magazines, right? It's really the entire scope of all of it.
To say letting her do, hell yeah. If it were hypothetical and I did let her, well, hell yeah, let her make her own money, be her own boss, and get to not have to listen to other people's bullshit. And back to the Me Too thing on a separate note, there's tons of very highly thought of photographers verified by Instagram, worked with Kim Kardashian to name, everyone's favorite, worked for Kanye West, that I've read articles, there were literally women saying that they forced him to send them nudes just to decide if he wanted to work with him, forced them to do sexual acts and all these things. And I'm sitting here going, so if I tell you that my wife worked to a verified photographer that worked for Kim Kardashian, you
went on a magazine,
badass, bro. But if I tell you that she does it for herself with me,
everyone's like,
how do you let her do that? Like, that's a confusing constraint for me. Like, I don't get it.
I barely make it to this part of that question. I'm always like, I know,
because I don't ever let you do anything. You're your own boss.
I've always been my own boss since I was like a little kid.
It's funny, it's confusing, but like at the end of the day, like, I shouldn't say like that much, but I'll work on it. But she fucking gets to do what she wants. She gets to post the picture she wants. She's gonna get someone else to fucking say, hey, no, that picture's ugly. That picture's this. I need you to do this pose. I need you to get naked. She gets to do what she wants, and she gets to help support her friends that come by, and it's a funny question.
It's kind of like a girl's world. We get to be those chicks we wanted to be. We get to take the hot pics. We get to feel sexy, and then we get to share it, and we get to make our own money off of it. So I think that just kind of ruffles feathers, and people think of it as like this strange, crazy thing. There's a ton of models that do sexy, crazy stuff that are moms. and so I think we'll have to talk about that in another segment about moms.
We were talking about it today, though. Like, Playboy's been around for 67 years. When Hugh Hefner was alive, he was considered a legend and a goat, and everyone
he built an empire.
Amazing,
great.
And I'm not talking bad about the man. He did great things, and he helped women build this opportunity. But here's the thing:
he gave him a ton of publicity and all kinds of stuff.
He made all the money, and the women were like basically treated as peasants that were lucky to get to be seen on the pages, and that is just pathetic. At the end of the day, like, the talent gets paid everywhere else in a higher percentage than anyone in that construct. No one bought it for the articles. No one bought it for that. Like, it's for no. Those 3 or 4 women were the reason, and yet he's the one with all the money. But hey, you get to come party at my Playboy Mansion. You get to do this. You get to do that. And finally, we flipped the script, and that just pisses off people because, and I say we, I'm not. They have flipped the script, and it pisses off people because now they don't get their percentage off of it, which is like 80%, 90%, whatever that cut is. And so, and if you're a girl listening to this and you're letting them take your cut, you don't have to. Yeah. Love yourself, do your own thing.
If you're a guy listening to this, take away from girls, hustle, get off here.
For real, like, this is a new world, and I'm proud as fuck of my wife, and I think that she is more confident, more happy, and, you know, I have beautiful daughters that are learning from her, and we'll talk about that another day, so you're gonna have to watch again if you care about that topic.
Yes.
But I think if you think you let your wife or husband do something, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, you're doing it wrong. Like, support them, talk to them, find out what they love.
Be open
and
and
help
listen
them
to each other.
get that.
Listen to each other so you don't just either stay miserable down a path you're not enjoying, or so you don't divorce or whatever. Like, listen to each other, be there for each other. And I'm not saying it's always easy. We have our craziness all the time. We're crazy. But we'll have to do a whole episode about how crazy we are one time. But yes, he lets me do my dream that I thought would have been really cool. Never thought I could do it. And he's been supportive, and it's been freaking awesome. And I love him because he's supportive. I've always supported him.
Always supported me, and now I get the chance to finally flip it.
I hope they can see our sign. I know people listening can't, but the people watching, you can see our sign that says "Fuck fitting in, stand out," with iconic Gary Vee, all them together, our Halsey, Playboy, and of course our Cowboys. This is our whole. I had to share like our whole backdrop, why we chose like a little bit of things that represent us. So, anyways, it's been great. And we are excited to share so many more topics and so many more things. And then also comment what any other questions you have or topics or things you want us to discuss.
We want to sit down and talk about the things that intrigue the followers. Obviously, there's a lot of followers off Courtney's page, and a lot of people follow the podcast page. And again, we're sorry that it's
y'all are awesome.
long.
Thank you. Yes.
Hopefully, you all listen. And hopefully you feel like we brought something to the table, but we're ready for more. We want to do more. We want to talk more. We want to hopefully spread our thoughts, and hopefully there's more people that think like us. I know there are plenty of guys and girls that have DM'd and commented that are a part of this team, part of this new world that is clearly real. And like I said, I'm proud of what she's done, and I'm proud to stand behind her and support her and help her, whatever it takes, mentally, physically, emotionally. She does the same for me, and we want to help, but we also want to have fun. Hopefully, not all the topics are things that that are critical to some people that think negatively. Hopefully, there's some good fun ahead of us. But I'm very excited to
we have fun ahead of us. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And shout out to other podcasters out there killing it, because we are learning very quickly. This is no joke. It's fun, and we can talk all freaking day, but it's hard to sit down and actually record and do it and put it all out there and not feel like you're rambling like an idiot. So shout out to y'all. But I think that's it for tonight, right? We're gonna go finish our whiskeys.
Cheers.
And cheers. And thank you for stopping by to Texasthighs and I. We love you all. Have a great night.
Great night.
Bye.